and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2023-24 season. My name is Dan, and today it is time to do the 100 Experts video for Game Week 16, the video where we have a look at the transfer trends and captaincy decisions of the top FPL managers to see if we can learn anything from it. And today, a record has been broken in 100 Experts history, so stay tuned for that one, and if you do enjoy, drop a like, subscribe. Let's get started. So first of all, thank you to the 100 FPL Experts, pundits and content creators for helping us out once again. The deadlines are super tight at the moment, so giving this information, this data to me at such short notice, they are absolute legends for this. So yeah, a huge thanks to all of these people. We could not do this series without them. Let's see what they're up to. So out of our 100 expert managers, 62% are making one transfer. However, we have got 27% making two transfers. So actually, a very significant amount of our experts are making more than one transfer this week, which is kind of interesting. In fact, we've got 4% making three transfers. And as you can see, no one's making a wild card, but 7% not making a transfer at all. This kind of suggests that this really is a game week to be making a transfer, with so few of our top managers rolling the transfer this week. Most of us are going to need to make one, and you can see that in the stats. So it is a big transfer making week. There's loads of transfer data to go through today, with lots of transfers being made. Yeah, let's see what happens here. But it could be a case, guys, that many of you are making multiple transfers. A lot of our experts taking a hit. If you need to take a hit, you need to take a hit. So yeah, don't be too worrisome about that. And if you are still holding on to the wild card, this is probably not going to be a week to use it. So that is what we've learned from these general trends. Looking at the most popular Game Week 16 transfers in the world, we have got Cole Palmer right now, has overtaken Hwang Hee-chan as the #1 most popular transfer in the world of FPL, basically. 159,000 transfers for him so far, and I imagine that'll probably double by the time we get to deadline. Very popular pick, another goal against Manchester United, this time from open play. You can see why he's popular. Another goal scorer, Hee-chan here, popping up with some points there. Trent with his corner assist and the clean sheet. Another high-scoring player getting involved as one of the top picks among the overall player base. And of course, Gordon and Dubravka, kind of players popular last game week, but again, their popularity feeding over to Game Week 16 overall as well. But what we want to find out here is, are these players also popular among our experts? And we've got so much transfer data among our experts, you would imagine that at least one of our experts is going for the majority of these players, and you would be kind of right. Yeah, so Palmer, Hee-chan, Gordon, Sterling, Bowen, and Colwill also showing significant interest among our experts. And you can see a trend here. Most of these players are midfielders, and we're going to find out why that is very, very shortly. But aside from Palmer and Hee-chan, Gordon is around there. Sterling and Bowen, interesting to see. They've got quite a lot of love. We're going to see how much love exactly. What I can tell you is the order you see on the screen right now, in terms of the popularity on the overall player base, is not the same for our experts. So the experts would rank these players in a slightly different order in terms of who is the best players to bring in, who are the priority transfers to bring in, and we're going to show you that shortly. But little shout out to Colwill at the bottom there as well. 44,000 overall players, but a few of our experts do fancy him as a nice pick as well. But there are a few players that maybe are not hugely popular among our experts. Are there any players here that actually our experts don't like at all? Yes, there is. There is three. Cunha, no surprise to see that none of our experts are going for Cunha. In fact, I'm surprised that the overall player base likes Cunha, to be honest. I guess he has been a little consistent in some like small returns recently, but a Wolves attacker, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one. If his name's not Hee-chan, I don't know if I'm interested. Of course, McTominay did really, really well in Game Week 15, and the Manchester United fans are loving him at the moment. But considering that he blanked 5 consecutive game weeks before that, and actually didn't really shoot very often, didn't really create much in those 5 game weeks either, means that one game week is not going to be enough to convince a top FPL manager to pick a player. So no interest in him whatsoever among our experts, despite the fact that they're making almost like, you know, loads and loads of transfers this week. McTominay did not feature in one of them. And neither did Watkins, interestingly. A game against Arsenal, typically known as the toughest defence in the league, although after that Luton game, I'm sure some of you guys have changed your mind. But again, one game week, conceding a load of goals against Luton, one game week for McTominay, scoring a brace in that game. It doesn't define a team, it doesn't define a player, it doesn't define a season. So yeah, Watkins in a tough game against Arsenal, not really fancied by our experts, but a tiny bit of love for Trent, Dubravka and Sanchez. So yeah, let's move on from there. So, among our experts, the most popular transfers out are the record-breaking Bryan Mbeumo. Yes, 77 transfers out for him. We have never seen a player transferred out by so many of our expert managers in one of these videos before. This is crazy to see so many people who had him in the first place for a start, and second of all are choosing to sell him. But you can kind of understand why. Mbeumo is going to be out for sure in Game Week 16, but he's also expected to be out for several weeks after that. We're not exactly sure on the extent of the injury, but he's going to be out certainly until his blank in Game Week 18, and then maybe even after that as well, at which point maybe he goes off to AFCON. So it could be that we don't see Mbeumo in Premier League action for, you know, a month or two, really. So he is definitely going to be a player that you want to remove, particularly at 7.1 million in the midfield slot. He's got to go. He's going to be out for too long. There's just no place for Bryan Mbeumo in our FPL teams anymore, and our experts agree with that one pretty much unanimously that Mbeumo has to go. No surprise to see a few transfers out for cash. We see him get dropped by more and more of our experts every single week, to the extent where me as a cash owner kind of thinks, yeah, what am I doing? I'm lagging behind. Why have I not sold cash yet? Because our experts seem to be ditching him like mad every week. And there's also a lot of transfers out for our Crystal Palace defenders. So Gahey, 8 transfers out, 3 transfers out for Mitchell. There's a couple on Anderson as well, and a couple on Johnston, the goalkeeper. So really, because Crystal Palace have such bad fixtures now, they are just being absolutely ditched. They are being sold en masse. Everyone is removing their defensive assets from Crystal Palace. GRB 5 transfers out for him as well, not nailed, and a tough fixture against Arsenal. You can kind of understand that. A few people actually giving up on Tsimikas, which did surprise me a little bit. I guess it's only 3, so it's not a strong trend considering how many of our experts do actually own Tsimikas, but the benching in the midweek actually improves Tsimikas' chances of playing against Crystal Palace this weekend. So for me personally, I would never sell Tsimikas if I had him right now, but maybe that benching, that 0-pointer, just was too much for a couple of our experts who have chosen to ditch him. But yeah, not so sure about that one. In terms of transfers in, this is where things get crazy, guys, because different experts are choosing different replacements for Bryan Mbeumo, and this is the order of things. So, first of all, our standout transfer in for the game week among our experts is Palmer. More than double the transfers of second place. 42 out of our 93 transfer-making experts are bringing in Palmer for game week 16. And considering a lot of them already had Palmer in their team, we could see Palmer close to 80-90% ownership among the top FPL managers. So he really is arguably an essential player at this point. Certainly getting close to that, isn't he? We've got Gordon coming in at second with 19 transfers in. You can understand why he's a little bit lower than Palmer. Has been playing a lot of games recently. Looked exhausted in game week 15. So maybe we are going to see some rotation at some point for Gordon, assuming Newcastle have anyone to rotate him with, maybe. But also because a lot of people are tripled up on Newcastle or want to have access to a third Newcastle player in the near future, Palmer is just slightly preferred to Gordon there. We got Colwill in here with 10 transfers in. He seems to be the defender of choice for our experts. And here is the one that surprised me. At number 4, Raheem Sterling. Really did not expect to see him with 9 transfers in. I didn't expect to see him really too many transfers in at all. Certainly didn't expect to see him above the likes of Bowen and Hee-Chan, who each have 7 transfers in. I would have thought Bowen and Hee-Chan would be a little bit more popular, but they're actually going for Sterling above these players. Curious stuff, guys. We've got Pedro Porro, the second most popular defender to bring in with 7 transfers, followed by Trippier, the third most popular defender to bring in among experts. But he's a little bit tougher to get in at that price point. Few transfers in for Dubravka. Obviously, there's a goalkeeper situation that might need remedying for a few people, with Areola unfortunately sustaining a wrist injury that ruled him out for game week 15. Not sure how long he's going to be out for, but if you need a replacement, Dubravka's going to be a guy. A couple of transfers in for Reece James and Saka as well. So with that data, let's suggest to you guys some transfers. So first transfer suggestion is going to be Bryan Mbeumo to Cole Palmer. This is the most straightforward, obvious transfer of this game week. If you don't have Cole Palmer already and you do have Mbeumo, it's an easy move. You get to free up a load of money to spend on elsewhere in your team, and you get a great player on penalties, great fixtures, probably close to nailed on, at least as close as you can really get in a busy period like the Christmas period in FPL and the Premier League. I think it's a fantastic transfer, a really, really strong one that I wouldn't have any hesitance in making if I didn't own Palmer already, of course. Burmo to Gordon, if you aren't tripled up on Newcastle or you're not worried about Gordon, then Burmo to Gordon, that could definitely work. And the third most popular one was Burmo to Sterling. So these are the top 3 Burmo moves. Palmer first, then Gordon, then Sterling, then followed by Bowen and Hechan, who are equal on 7 transfers in each. That's your order, basically, your order of priority according to our experts. These are the players you want to bring in. So if you're wondering, who should I bring in for Burmo? If you don't have Palmer, Palmer. If you already have Palmer, Gordon. If you can't get to Gordon for whatever reason, Sterling, apparently. But yeah, certainly a shout out to Hechan and Bowen, who were pretty popular as well and definitely should be considered alongside Sterling, I think. Looking at some other positions in defense, cash to Pedro Porro could work if you can afford to make that kind of move, but a cash to Colwill could also work. I think if you've got Gahey or any other Crystal Palace defender and you can't quite afford to move up to a Pedro Porro, Colwill is definitely going to be a player that will work for you as well. So yeah, Pedro Porro and Colwill, these are your guys that you want to be bringing in as your defenders. Sell the likes of Cash, sell the likes of Gahey or any other Crystal Palace defender. Of course, the priority is Burmo. Do that move first, and then after that we can start looking at defenders a little bit. And if you need a new goalkeeper, Johnson is actually the most popular transfer out, but to be fair, I did gather the data for this video before we learned about the Areola injury, so perhaps if I kind of got the information after that, then maybe we would see more transfers out for Areola or Turner to get Dubravka into teams. But unfortunately, we're super tight schedule right now trying to get videos out, so we can't always do everything bang up to date, but we try and do our best here. But certainly, if you need to make a goalkeeper transfer, Dubravka is the popular choice there for you. In terms of the Game Week 16 captains, it's not a super interesting one this week, unfortunately, guys. We're at 90% on Erling Haaland against Luton Town, and in fact, a couple of the Salah captainers admitted to me they don't have Haaland, and a couple of the people who didn't have Haaland as well were also actually making big transfer moves, you know, -8s or triple transfers, and someone even sold Salah in order to get Haaland back into their team. So that's kind of how important Haaland is going to be for Game Week 16. He's by far the standout captain for the game week and a pretty straightforward choice in my opinion. But we still do have Salah here, 8%. So I guess if you really want to go for Salah, fair enough, but it's pretty much a landslide among the experts. They all seem to agree, well, 90% of them seem to agree that Haaland is the guy. So I don't really think there's too much discussion to be had there. Unless you guys can maybe change my mind in the comments, I don't think there's much discussion. But a shout out to the 2 1%ers who have gone absolutely crazy. One going for Fernandes against Bournemouth. I guess it's a good home fixture. And we've got Son against Newcastle trying to play against the tired Newcastle legs with a Heung-min Son, but Heung-min Son looks like he might have some tired legs himself, so not too sure about that one. But yeah, let me know what you think, guys, about captaincy decision this week. Is it straightforward Haaland or go home, or is there maybe some other players that you guys would consider ahead of Haaland this game week? Be interested to hear some of your thoughts on that one. To me, it's straightforward. I'm not really thinking about captaincy. I don't even think you need to think about captaincy. It's kind of a decision you barely need a brain to make. The brain stem alone will do in making this kind of FPL decision, which is nice because there's been some tough decisions recently. Sometimes it's nice to just have a easier one where you can sit back and just let the world happen to you in many ways. But that is going to be the end of today's video. If you did enjoy it, make sure you drop a like, do subscribe, and leave a comment if you've got any questions about the expert data or anything like that. We will be hitting you with another video later today, the team selection video, which I haven't done yet, so that is going to come out later, so stay tuned for that one. And one more thing, guys, if you have noticed the VAR Humbug hoodie that I'm wearing right now, sweatshirt that I'm wearing right now, well, little plug to fanprints.uk where you can get yours. The link for that is in the description if you want to check out this and many other products on there and help support the channel that way. But aside from that, guys, thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates.